Have you noticed how quickly kids give up when something gets difficult? A maths problem gets confusing, an assignment feels hard, and within minutes, their attention is gone. They ask for help straight away. They reach for Google, or now it's AI. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. But here's the important part: our kids aren't getting dumber. They're growing up in a world designed to constantly pull their attention in 100 different directions. And that makes one skill harder to develop, but more valuable than ever. It's deep thinking. In this video, I'll explain why deep thinking matters so much in an AI future world and a few simple things you can start doing at home to help your child build it. This part is important, and the good thing is, deep thinking is pretty simple to understand. It's the ability to stay with a problem long enough to really understand it. Not just recognize information, but analyze it, question it, and connect it with what you already know. Our brains do most of this in something called working memory.
Our working memory is like a small mental workspace. At any moment, it can only hold a handful of pieces of information, usually about 3 or 4.
And if we don't actively think about that information, it disappears quickly. Let me give you a simple example. Have you ever opened your news app, scrolled for 5 minutes, read a few headlines, clicked on one or two articles, and then put your phone down? And 5 minutes later, you could barely remember what you just read? That's your brain recognizing information, but not really processing it. Now compare that to reading one article slowly, thinking about it, maybe discussing it with a partner or a friend. Suddenly, that information sticks. That's deep thinking happening. Your brain is analyzing the information, linking it to other ideas, weighing it up, and then storing it in your long-term memory. Now imagine being a kid growing up today. You've got school all day, social dynamics, hormones and emotional changes, and on top of that, phones, group chats, notifications, social media, games, streaming, and now AI that can answer almost anything instantly. That's a lot of stimulus competing for attention, and the brain naturally prefers easy and immediate rewards. So when something becomes difficult, like a challenging maths problem or writing an essay, the temptation to escape the struggle is stronger than ever. But here's the key idea: learning actually requires struggle. When our brains work hard, think analyzing, reflecting, problem solving, we form stronger memories and deeper understanding. When something is easy, our brains don't need to work very much. And when the brain doesn't work, it doesn't really grow. Have you seen deep thinking in your child? It could be things like focusing on a single task for a period of time, struggling with a problem, but then trying a different way, a different approach, or solving something without immediately searching for the answer. Or maybe it's just being comfortable spending time without constant stimulation. Deep thinking involves a combination of focus, problem solving, reflection, and persistence to do that. And all of those things, they involve what psychologists sometimes call cognitive friction. That feeling of effort in the brain when something is hard. But that friction is exactly where learning happens. Now let's talk about AI. This is where it gets interesting. AI is incredible technology. It can explain ideas, summarize information, generate writing, and answers questions almost instantly. But that convenience comes with a hidden trap. It can create something called the illusion of learning. You might have experienced it yourself. You've spent an hour chatting with AI about a topic. You've read the answers, you've nodded along, you've asked the next question. It feels like you're learning. But later, when you try to recall what you read or specific information from the chat, it's surprisingly hard to remember. Why? Because recognizing information is not the same as thinking deeply about it. Real learning usually requires slowing down, maybe writing things in your own words, rereading something, reflecting on it. In other words, it requires attention and effort. And that's why deep thinking becomes even more valuable in an AI world. Because if AI can generate answers instantly, the real advantage will belong to people who can question those answers, spot any mistakes or biases, connect different ideas together, and then make thoughtful decisions. Those things require time, they require attention, and they require deep thinking. So, what can you as a parent actually do? The good news is this skill isn't fixed. It's something kids develop through practice. And here are a few simple things that can make a huge difference. Now, it's going to depend on the age of your child, so adapt accordingly. Number one, remove phones during focus time. Even if a phone is turned off, simply knowing it's nearby can reduce attention. Imagine a smoker with a packet of cigarettes sitting on the bench next to them. Yeah, it's the same concept. So during homework or study time, consider having a phone box where devices stay out of reach. That small change alone can significantly improve focus. Number two, don't steal the struggle. One of the biggest mistakes we make as parents is solving their problems too quickly. When our child says, I don't get it, the instinct is to explain the answer. But the real learning happens during that time or that moment of struggle. Instead of giving the answer, try to help guide their thinking. Ask questions like, what do you already know about this? What could we try next? Or where can we find some information about that? Help them to think without removing the challenge. Number three, ask them to explain what they learned. One of the best ways to strengthen thinking is simply asking your child to explain something they learned. And yes, likely the first answer will be not much, I don't know, or possibly even a grunt. That's normal. But if you stay curious and keep the conversation going, I'm thinking Louis Theroux here, something interesting happens. When kids talk about what they're learning, they begin retrieving information from memory, which strengthens their understanding. I mean, you can do this anywhere, but surprisingly or not, a good place for these conversations is in the car. It's relaxed, there's no pressure, and silence isn't that awkward. Just listen and show genuine curiosity. Now, there's a disclaimer here. You cannot pick up their errors, talk over the top of them, or turn it into your lecture. Explaining learning can make you feel vulnerable, especially if you haven't pieced all the dots together yet. So if you want them to do it again, they need to feel supported in this. Don't steal their struggle. Number four, teach them to use AI as a guide. AI can be a powerful learning tool if it's used in the right way. Instead of asking AI for the answer, students can ask it to guide their thinking. For example, the prompt or the input could be, ask me questions to help me understand the topic about X, or explain this step by step and check my understanding along the way. These types of prompts keeps the thinking with the student. The easiest way to set this up is get them onto what's called study mode, or what it's called something similar on whatever chat platform they use. I've covered this in a recent video, so if you want to know more, check it out. But essentially, with this setting, it sets the output to guide learning. It's a great homework or learning tutor. Number five, encourage reflection. Reflection helps the brain organize experiences and then learn from them. Now, that could be journaling for a few minutes before bed, but it can be you as the parent that stimulates this reflection when you're having conversations. What was the most interesting thing you learned today? Or what was something difficult you worked through? Those small moments of reflection help strengthen deep thinking. Number six, model focus yourself. Now, this one can be uncomfortable, but children learn a lot by watching what we do. So if they see us reading, working through problems, spending time focused without our phones, and these are all examples of deep thinking, they start to see that this kind of behavior is normal. Role modeling is one of the most powerful teaching tools parents have. If your child struggles to focus or gives up quickly when something is hard, you're not alone. And it doesn't mean anything is wrong with them. They're growing up in a world designed to pull their attention in 1,000 directions. But with a few simple habits at home, we can help them build the ability to slow down, think deeply, and work through difficult problems. And in a world where AI can generate answers instantly, this human ability is only going to become more valuable. If you're interested in helping your kids develop the capabilities they'll need to thrive in an AI future, then follow along. I'm Cow from VivcoEd. Tech will change, human capability wins.